Boys and girls, I am so excited that we are going to start working with clay. We're going to celebrate the year of the pig by making a pig out of clay. Clay is something that can be found in the ground, like a rock. You can see this gentleman is looking at clay in the ground. It's the gray stuff, and you can use it to make all sorts of things, like beautiful pottery, or even just dishes that you might use at your table at dinner. Let's look at this little pig we're going to make. He is made out of coils. Those are sort of like those round worm things you see in his little tail. I used a ball for his head. And speaking of balls, there's a ball of clay. It's so squishy. We'll also use a toothbrush, but not for our teeth. It goes in that kind of funny water. And we're also going to use a little stick that's pointy on one end like a pencil and not pointy on the other end. The first thing we'll do is we'll make those coils. Coils are sort of like worms. You can see I'm pinching the clay together in my hand so that it turns into sort of like, well, a pickle shape. Once I've got it to where it's easy for me to roll, I'm going a little fast now, I can put it on my canvas mat and use both hands to push and roll at the same time. Watch what my fingers are doing. Sometimes they're together, sometimes they're apart, sometimes they see a bigger spot that needs to be evened up. The more I push, the longer it will get, and I want it to be about the length of two hands if I put my hands together. Once I have a coil that if I go fingertip to fingertip, it's as long as my hand, I'm going to cut it in half with that little tool I have. I am going to make sure the ends are flat, and I'm going to stick them next to each other and make sure they're about the same length. I'm going to flatten those ends so the ends are nice and flat. The next thing I'm doing is I'm using my stick and I'm going to make the little hooves. I'm just making one little line on the end of each of those coils. Those are going to be the feet or the hooves of the little pig. So the end of each coil will get just a little, 4 hooves, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those two coils are going to get stacked on top of each other. And we are going to have one of them be the sort of top and one of them be the legs. If you notice, my legs are stuck together really well. I'm using something called slipping and scoring. The water that you see there is clay water. That's called slip. And I'm using the toothbrush to rough up the surface of the clay. That's called scoring. And when I slip and score the two pieces of clay together, they're going to be attached really, really well. So I'm going to dip my toothbrush in and rub it on the clay. Then you can see me wiggling the two legs together. Then I'm going to bend those legs sort of like a U. The coil that's on top will be a skinny little U because those are sort of like the arms. The coil that's on the bottom won't be quite as big. It's time to make the head. You will get a little piece of clay and you'll divide it in half. You notice that I pulled some apart. I put the bigger piece in my hand and I'm rolling it into a ball. That's going to be the head. I'm going to pinch off another little piece about the size of a pea or so, and I'm going to roll it between my hands. Again, this is going to be the nose. In order to make sure the nose stays on really well, I need to slip and score both the head and the nose. Right now the nose is round, but when I put it on, I'm going to flatten it down with my thumb to give it a nice little piggy nose. And then I'm going to use my stick with a pointy end and sort of make a little line. Cute little piggy nose, just like that. All right, there's our first thing. I'm going to pull apart two more little bits of clay and I'm going to make the eyeballs. So I'm going to roll these in my hand. Let's speed it up a little bit. All right, we are rolling those balls. We are getting them rolled. We're slipping and scoring the balls right on the piggy head. There's one little eyeball. Let's slip and score the other little eyeball. And then I'm going to use the flat end of my little stick to make a little indentation. All right, we've got nose, we've got eyeballs. We're going to pinch off a little more clay for those ears. I am going to roll a little ball, but this time the little ball might have a little bit of a pinch at the top. I'm going to pinch the top to make it look like kind of like a triangle. That's how I'm going to make my ears. Looks a little bit like a wedge of cheese or a triangle. I'm going to fast forward this part and slip and score those ears on. You saw how I slipped and scored those ears on, and then I used my little stick to make a little indent in the ear. Now I have to attach the head to the body, and I need to figure out where I want it. Not too high. I want it to sort of cover up that U. I'm going to slip and score again. This one's really important to make sure that I slip and score that big head on. I'm giving it a good toothbrush. I'm going to toothbrush that head. I'm going to toothbrush that body. I'm going to slip and score it. I'm going to put that little head on. I'm going to wiggle it down, make sure he fits really well. There he goes. Oh, he's so cute. He's missing one thing, though. Let's see. What does this little piggy need? Of course, that little piggy needs a tail. I've got a little bit of clay left. I'm going to roll it between my hands and make a skinny little coil. Just like I made his legs, I'm going to make a skinny coil sort of shaped like a P, the letter P. And I am going to slip and score it on his back, giving his back a little toothbrush. I'm giving the little tail a slipping and scoring toothbrush. I'm going to press that little tail on. Any extra I have, I can take off. And there we go. Look at that cute pig. Friends, I can't wait to see yours. Let's get started.